I need some coffee. When I say yeah, 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 yeah. When it's really no, 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 no. And it's really yeah, 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 yeah. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well. This is my 51st video on my YouTube channel. I'm by no means a YouTuber. I'm more of a blogger, but I've stepped into the YouTube world and I'm quite enjoying it. So I thought for my 51st video, I asked across my social media platforms if you had any questions that you wanted to ask me, and thank God some lovely lots of you got back and asked me some questions, so I have them all screenshot on my phone and I'm going to answer them. So if you want to see me talk shy, just keep watching. So I just screen grabbed all the questions from like Snapchat, Instagram and Facebook, and I have them saved in my camera roll. So this one was asked a few times, and it's how and why did you get into blogging? So I got into blogging nearly 4 years ago now, and I've always been a huge blog fan. I've always read them, and I was a huge YouTube fan. I still am. I continuously watch YouTube. I watch YouTube more than television. But I was always too scared. Just afraid to put myself out there, and afraid of the ridicule and not being perfect and people picking me apart. So I never kind of delved into it myself. But a friend of mine was blogging, and they asked me did I want to start a blog with them. So I did, and it was really fun and I learned a lot, but it didn't work out, so I branched off and I started Beautynook.ie. And so Beautynook is more than 2 years old now and still going strong, and I love every minute of it. So yeah, that's my blogging journey so far in a nutshell. So then a continuation of that question is why did you decide to start blogging, and what is your favourite aspect of it? My favourite aspect is the writing. I've always been into writing. I did journalism in college, so it was something that I always had an interest and a passion for. So the other aspects have, obviously I love beauty, so I'm talking about beauty, but the specific part of like the blog part is probably trialing the makeup and beauty, and then writing about it because I just love writing. And then the next part is what one bit of advice would you give to someone starting a blog? Don't give up. There's so many bloggers out there in the world. Even like Ireland is tiny and we're saturated with blogs. But I think if you persevere and you keep at it and you're consistent and your content is good and you just keep going, I believe that you will gain an audience eventually. Just people constantly reading blogs, so they will come across yours if you're doing the right thing and you're writing about what they want to read about. So I would just say keep going. Then I have another one here. Do you have any tattoos? I have 2 tattoos. I would probably have more, but I don't think they suit me very much. I'm not cool enough for a lot of tattoos. But I have a star on my wrist here, and then I have I suppose what you would deem a tramp stamp. When I was 16, I'm not showing you, I'm not getting my ass out, but when I was 16 I got like a sun on the middle of my back, i.e. a tramp stamp. And a few years later down the line, then I decided I wanted to add on to it, so it has kind of like a continuation, like tribal arty thing kind of on either side of it, so it goes kind of the length of my back. And no one really sees it because I don't really have that part of my body out anymore, but it's there and I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. And then the next part of that question is what's your 2 must-have makeup products? Probably foundation and mascara, because I think like obviously you can cover up any imperfections with the foundation, and then I think mascara just helps awaken the face. And then the next part of it, when did you get your nose pierced? I got my nose pierced when I was probably about 14, and I got the head slapped off me by my mum. I just got it done with a gun. Sorry, my throat is gone. Excuse me. I just got it done with a gun, and like a few years later then I stopped wearing anything in it. But then probably about a year and a half ago now I decided I want a ring in my nose, and I went to get it re-pierced and the place wouldn't take credit card, well debit cards, they would only take cash. So I said, oh feck it, and there was no card machines around to take money out. So I came home. Don't try this at home, kids. I came home and realised that my nose was still kind of open from when I got it done when I was about 14. So I stuck an earring through it and reopened the hole. So next question. As a fellow oily skinned person, I'd be interested in what products you have found worked and don't work for oily skin, both skincare and makeup. Jesus, that's a whole blog post in itself. Anything that says it's going to illuminate your face in cream based formula, I don't think is good for oily skin, whether it be moisturiser or foundation or highlighter. I stay away from anything that kind of says dewy on it. When it comes to good for oily skin, anything that probably says matte is good, but I would probably, like, I never want my skin too matte, so I would use like a lighter primer underneath to kind of help balance, because as much as I don't want the oil to come through, I don't want to look like my face is cardboard either. Setting spray has been the best, one of the best inventions in the past few years for oily skin, I think. This is my favourite one of the moment. It's the Infallible Fix and Mist by L'Oreal. As you can see, I have, this is nearly empty, so I bought another one so I wouldn't run out. This has just been my favourite one. I love the Urban Decay D-Slick as well, but this is half the price and it's bloody brilliant. And then powder is really important, I think. So you don't want anything too cakey. Loose powder is really good for oily skin, I find, because like it absorbs the oil. Something that I don't condone, milk of magnesia works really well if you're wanting to kind of go out for the day and like you put it on as a barrier between your skincare and your makeup. It just works really well. I know it's for upset tummies, but it seems to work really well as like a barrier between the oil getting through your makeup. So I don't use it all the time, but if I'm going to a wedding or something, I will always slap it on. And yeah, I could literally talk all day about this. There's loads of stuff in my blog about oily skin products, so I linked the blog down below. So the next question is, what I would like to know or see is about eyeshadow. I hear every blogger speak about colours for transition colour, crease colour, etc. But what exactly does all this mean to a complete novice? It means feck all, really. You don't need to use these products for your makeup to look nice. We just kind of, us beauty addicts, just kind of get carried away. For me personally, I have slightly hooded eyes, so I always use a transition colour first so that I can find right where I'm going to put my crease and then kind of lay all the other products on top. And then a transition colour is good for if you're applying a lot of colours in the crease and you want to have it like a graduated effect. Transition colours are great for kind of buffing out any harsh lines, like the likes of Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek is a really good transition colour, because you can kind of just apply it over any shadow that you've put in the crease and it might be too high, or you want to diffuse it and blend it out and make it seem more soft. So did I answer the question there? So yeah, like they're not necessary steps, but if you want your eyeshadow to be kind of more gradient, or you want like different colours to be seen throughout your crease, that's why you use a transition colour. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, this is a funny one. Do they really have leprechauns in Ireland? Not that I'm aware of, but I will never say never. What's a banshee? I don't really know. All I know is that banshees like to comb their hair and scream a lot. Next one is, what's your top products / tips to get me out the door on the school run, not looking like I've only had 5 minutes to get ready? When it comes to being in a rush, I think you kind of have to pick and choose what you're going to do, basically. For me, I think skin, brows and lashes are the most important thing. So I would say use like a BB cream or a light tinted moisturiser, something with SPF maybe, because you are going out into the sunshine. I would say use either a brow powder or a brow pencil, whatever you're more comfortable with, and define your brows. Eyelash curlers really helps open your eyelashes. Obviously, if you have naturally curled eyelashes, you don't need them. Lashes and mascara and a bit of lip gloss. And something else that kind of helps as well is a skin coloured eye pencil to put in the waterline that kind of wakes your eyes up and makes them seem more alive as well. So yeah, a tinted moisturiser, BB cream, brow product, mascara and lip balm. And I think anyone kind of looks put together and ready to face the day. So under eye circles and concealer, you always seem to use 2 different concealers and powders and not look caked or have it settled in lines, although maybe you don't have lines. I'm 31, so I definitely have lines, but I suppose I'm pretty lucky. I don't have major kind of wrinkle starting yet. I do have some on my forehead, but that's really just because I'm quite expressive. When it comes to under eye concealer, I always use something with a peach tone, like so a lighter concealer with a peach undertone to cancel out any darkness. But I use a really light layer and then I'll go over it with actual concealer. So at the minute I'm using the Shiseido Sheer Eye Zone Corrector, and this is in 103 Natural and it has like an orangey undertone. So this is a really light in texture concealer, so it just kind of it blends in really easily and you can't even notice it, but it just kind of blocks the darkness. And then I use the Too Faced Born This Way concealer over top, which is again a really lightweight concealer, but this has more coverage and I find in that just kind of brightens and lightens. And then when it comes to setting my under eye, I tend to use well, at the minute I'm using the NYX contour palette, and I'll use the banana shade and then the skin colour shades. Again, the banana shade because it cancels out darkness, and then I'll use the skin colour over top so that I don't have yellow under eyes. But from a lasting point of view, I say use light layers, press the powder into the skin rather than swiping. And if you do have problems with creasing, I suggest maybe bringing your face primer up around your eyes, or actually using your eyeshadow primer and putting a tiny little bit around your eyes, and that kind of fills in any fine lines and then also helps the product stay as well. Sorry, that was my watch. Oh, I should have read all these before I started answering them because this is hard. 3 beauty products you cannot live without. I think it's going to be the same: foundation, mascara and something for my eyebrows because I have shit eyebrows. The next one is favourite eyeshadow palette. Palettes. Phew. My favourite eyeshadow palette right now is probably, if you watch my videos and read my blog, you probably know, is the Urban Decay Ultimate, what is it called? Naked Ultimate Basics palette. I just bloody love this eyeshadow and I reach for it literally every day. Since I've bought it, I've used it every day. I don't necessarily do a full eye look with it, but I use it in the crease. I love the satin colour for my brow bone, and I've really gotten my money's worth out of it. I just really like it. The Naked palettes I really love. I suppose I don't reach for them as much anymore, but I always know that they're and that I do kind of dip in and out of them over time. These Zoeva palettes are just like love in palette form. You can buy these separate from Zoeva, but I got them in a set for Christmas, and honestly they have everybody covered. Like, we have warm tones, we have cooler tones, and then we have a bit of warm and a bit of cool. The pigment is amazing, the application is amazing, and the colour choice is kind of like a neutral with a pop of colour that'll suit everybody, and they're like 20 quid. So if I was going to recommend to buy any eyeshadows at the minute, I would say go onto Zoeva and buy one of their eyeshadow palettes because I want them all now. They have a couple of matte ones out that look incredible that I need to get my hands on. Next question is how to cover acne. I've never really suffered with acne. I always have breakouts. Even at 31 I still get spots and breakouts because I have oily skin. But I've never really suffered majorly from acne. I do have quite large pores, and to cover them up I tend to use like a really good primer. Like, my favourite primer would probably be Benefit Professional. Actually, I don't have Benefit Professional at the minute, but something like that I love because it fills in the pores. And I suppose the same would be for like acne scarring as well. Kind of use something that you can that'll glide over the pores and give a smooth base for makeup application. To cover spots, use some primer or a corrector with a green undertone, because that cancels out redness and pinkness. And then when it comes to concealer, use quite a thick concealer. You can always thin it out by dampening your brush or your sponge, but I would say use a thicker concealer and pat it on to the areas that you want to cover the most rather than swiping. So you can pat it on and then kind of pat around it, and make sure to always powder. But you're always going to see the lumps and bumps, unfortunately, but you can make them look better with good concealer and good application. Always pat it on rather than swiping, because you're just swiping the product off then. So I know that's a pretty quick way to cover spots, but I hope that helps a little bit. So the next question is, exactly how many nail polishes do you own now? I have, it's actually here in front of me, I used to have my nail polishes in just big giant IKEA boxes, and I never threw them out. So at one stage, when I went through them, I realised I had about 400 bottles of it, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I bought stands like one you'd have in a salon that you can kind of put all your nail polishes on, and that holds 90 nail polishes. So I was saying to people on my Facebook page that I would only have enough polishes that would fit in this stand. Unfortunately, I have a basket as well under the desk that's in front of you here that is full of nail polishes as well. So I haven't quite kept to my like 90 bottle mark, but I think I probably only have about 100 bottles. So I think I'm doing better than I was. So someone asked, primers, do you need one? What type? I am a big fan of primer. I think they're a great transition from your skincare to your makeup. Obviously, if you have a drier skin, you probably don't need a primer, but I think it always gives a good base for your foundation. For me, my makeup life wouldn't be the same without a primer. I tend to use, like as I said, Benefit Professional is probably my favourite. I like the Smashbox one too. That's like a similar consistency. I also like the silicone ones just because they glide over pores and kind of any imperfections in the face, and they make for a smoother canvas. But I also feel that they make my makeup last longer. As I said, I'll still use a setting spray as well, but I think both of them have changed my makeup life anyway, because before I used them, makeup would just slide off my face. When it comes to drier skin, I think like an illuminating primer can make your face look more awake and more alive and more dewy, and that's always a pro. And again, it will help your makeup stay on longer too, because even though you have drier skin, your makeup can still slip and slide and kind of come away throughout the day. So I think a primer just helps. So it just depends on what kind of skin type you have to what primer you use, and I think it's trial and error as well, because like some primers, if I have oily skin and you have oily skin, it doesn't necessarily mean that we like the same primers, because you might like a different effect. You might like a lot of people don't like silicone primers, and yeah, you just have to find the one that works for you really. And the last question is, how old is Rosie? If you don't know, Rosie is my dog, and oh, she's actually on my phone here. If you might be able to see her. She's the family dog, but we actually don't know exactly how old she is. We found her on the streets here in Dublin, and she had been used for puppy farming. So the vet guessed that she was about 3 when we found her. So we've had her over 10 years now. So she's in and around 13. But she goes on like a puppy. She has a grey muzzle, which kind of, and her coat is starting to go a bit now, which kind of shows her age, but she doesn't act her age, that's for sure. But she's a crazy dog, and she doesn't do normal dog things. She kind of never learned how to fetch a ball or anything like that. But she's so funny, and I love her. And she makes us happy, and I hopefully think we make her happy too. And that's it for question time. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, and I hope I made sense, because I'm definitely not filming this video again because I had to be off the cuff. But yeah, thanks for watching as always, and thanks for sticking it out and watching my videos and reading my blog. I really, really appreciate it. If you like this video, as always, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll hopefully talk to you in my next one. Bye bye. Oh, my bum is numb.